Hi there, everyone. I hope you're having a good day. I've been having a good day in my little corner of the world. It's been a warm day, and I'm gonna go out for a nature walk after I'm done filming this video and just enjoy the rest of my evening. I've been thinking. Well, I'm always thinking. I've been thinking about this idea of survival. This notion that as humans, and not only humans, but other living beings, other creatures of the earth, from the very beginning of life, we become attached to our existence. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, if you've ever seen an animal give birth, or maybe you've given birth, or maybe you've seen someone give birth, or you've seen a cow calving, or you've seen a dog in labor, the act of birth, the birth itself, the emergence of new life, is a very violent and bloody and gruesome action. It's not a pretty picture to look at. It's not pleasant to see. It's very in your face and violent, right? And if you notice, from the very beginning of an organism's life, or from your own life, from the very beginning that you exited your mother's body and you came to be, as humans, and you can also see it with other living beings, as humans, we become attached to our life from the very beginning. We begin to use our lungs for the very first time. We begin to use our eyes to adjust to the lights that are around us, or hearing to adjust to all the noises that are happening, our sense of smell, our sense of taste, right? There is this act that just happened that was very violent. You were in a very comfortable place in your mother's body, in a very warm, nurturing place where you didn't have to worry about food or water or oxygen or survival or the everyday tasks of a human, because your mother was doing it for you, all for you, right? And you were just receiving, and so you were very comfortable. But the minute you are born, you are forced to exist. You are forced to experience life for the very first time. At least life in this reality, right? In this society. In your community, in your small town, or in your big city, wherever you may be, you experience your life in that environment. And even though we don't know what's going on, even though we don't know what just happened, there was blood, there was noise, there was stuff, gooey stuff all over. What just happened, right? And even though we don't know what happened, from the very beginning, a child fights for its life, fights for its existence. It's this very frail baby, but it still chooses to fight. And from the very beginning, we have all been fighters. We have all been warriors. And we have fought to exist. From the very beginning, when you didn't know what the heck was going on outside of your mother's body, you chose to give it the best that you have to live. You had to use your lungs for the very first time. You had to use your eyes. You had to use your hearing. You had to use all of your senses. And this is scary. You don't know what's going to happen. You're so dependent on the world around you. And you see this in the animal kingdom as well, right? When a cow is calving and a calf is born, you can see that the calf is confused. It doesn't know, it stumbles, right? And it doesn't really know how to walk. And it doesn't know anything about farms or grass or anything. But it's nurtured by its mother. You can see this in dogs and cats and all animals. You can see it in birds. When a bird hatches, there comes a time when the little chick needs to break the shell to emerge and to exist, because the shell is no longer serving its survival. So it needs to break out. And this is a very violent process for the chick, because it has to use all its strength to break that egg, to break that shell. It's not, if it's just mildly pecking at the shell, it's not going to open. It has to use all of its force to survive and to come out and to exist. And it may be a little confused in the beginning, but it always has its mother to nurture and to guide. Now I'm using all of these examples as metaphors. I have a feeling, and this is my prediction, and I was talking about predictions yesterday, and my predictions are 99% of the time wrong, but I'm going to make this possibly wrong prediction. I have a feeling that we are in the middle, or very close. We're in the middle of labor right now, and we're getting very close to labor, to the labor process, where it's very violent, it's very uncertain, it's very gruesome. And it's very confusing. It's very painful. And this birthing process is very uncomfortable, because it breaks us away from the little egg that we were in, or in the case of a human baby, from the safe place of the mother's body, or in the case of any other mammal, in the safe place inside their mother. And we're about to emerge as an actualized, self-evolved species, but we're in the middle of this labor process. Whether or not this happens in the real world, I think anybody can relate to this idea, the metaphor of the birthing process, in their own lives. There are moments in our lives where we are very comfortable. We are in our little cocoon, in our little shell, and it's very warm and cozy inside, but there's a point where, either because we feel the need to look for different horizons, or because we're forced to search for those different horizons, we break away from our comfort zone. And so maybe we're not going to be in the middle of a revolution as a society, as a human species. Maybe this is just What we're living in the real world, is just the drama that has always been the case in the last 20, 30 years. Okay. But I can assure everybody, and I can assure myself as well, that we all go through processes that force us to grow and get out of our comfort zone and force us to experience that particular experience. I didn't want to use it twice, but I was thinking of like that different version of yourself. So a version of yourself dies, right? And a new version of yourself is emerging. You could see this in the process of a butterfly. When a little caterpillar wants to evolve and change, right? Because it's part of the process, it's part of their instinct to do that. It turns into a chrysalis. And inside the chrysalis, the caterpillar gets dissolved and burned. Not burned, but it does get dissolved. And that process allows the butterfly to emerge. And when the butterfly is formed inside of the chrysalis, the butterfly, this new being that has been formed, has to fight for its life to get out of that chrysalis and fly. And so in my life, I've been constantly dying and rebirthing new versions of myself, or birthing new versions of myself. And there's this, what I was trying to say is that there's this death and rebirth process where I never really die, but a part of myself does die. Like, and by part of myself, I mean an illusion of myself, a perspective, a point of view that I was very attached to, and that made me look at life and experience reality in a certain way, in a very specific way. But once I broke away from that illusion, I had to experience this reality from a different point of view. And that different point of view can be a little confusing because you haven't really ever experienced that version of yourself, that point of view, so you don't know what to expect. What I'm trying to say in summary is that if you're going through something rough in your life, it's possible that you're in the labor process. You're in the process of labor. And you're about to birth a new version of yourself. Remember that birth is a very violent action. It's an uncomfortable, gruesome action. And don't be surprised if everything in your life feels like it's falling apart. That means that it's actually gonna get better. And it's not this fake positivity that I want to put out there, right? Because I understand that when you're in the midst of something really rough in your life, the fake positivity is annoying, right? But what I have experienced in my own life is that I am never forsaken by this higher power. I can't name it. I can't really explain it. I can't really fully understand it. And this is just my belief system. But a part of me knows, deep down inside of me, knows that I'm gonna get out of this. Whatever it is, however daunting the situation may seem, I will not be forsaken, because as long as I try, the universe, and I hesitate to use that term because it's been so corrupted and it annoys me the fuck out when people use the universe, the universe, the universe, because I'm just like, and it's usually the really new agey, culty people. Not that I'm against new agey stuff. Trust me, I was in that kind of cult for a very long time. But what I'm trying to say is that it sometimes gets annoying because just like the word God, it gets corrupted. But anyway, the universe is always protecting me no matter what happens to me. Like, even whatever is happening may seem daunting. I know that I am being taken care of. And this is something that you obviously have to experience for yourself. It's not something that I can say or somebody else can say on the internet, or you can read it in a book for you to really feel that you have not been forsaken this whole time. I mean, I can't convince you of that. You have to experience that protection, that connection yourself, right? And that's the journey, to go out, live this world, do your best, and see what happens. See if in reality there's something more to this existence. And that's something that every individual must go. That's a path that every individual must take, right? What I can tell you is that, and you may not believe me, and that's fine, but things will get better. I can promise you that. If you're going through something rough in your life, remember that you're in the birthing process. You're in the process of labor, right? And that's uncomfortable. That is gruesome. That is bloody. That is violent. That is confusing. But don't give up. You're so close to birthing a new version of yourself, a more beautiful version of yourself, a clearer version of yourself. May be uncomfortable at first, but as time goes on, you learn to navigate this new perspective, this new point of view, this new experience in this reality. So I hope you make it through the birthing process. And as a society, I feel like we are in the middle of labor. We are in the middle of something very uncomfortable, and something that is pushing us and that is just so uncertain, right? But it's important to hold out hope, I think. It's important to never lose that knowing that whatever happens, we're going to figure it out and we're going to make it through. At least that's what I think. Maybe that's the wrong approach. Who knows? I'm just doing my best, being a human, doing human things. Peace and love. Bye.